Good morning to those that desire to dwell with devouring fire and everlasting burnings in the holiness of God's love. It is February 11th, 2023. I went to bed last night meditating on the rest for the soul. And as I woke up this morning, he began to release this revelation. Not exactly what the way I would have thought it would have come, but I get it. And so I'm going to call this the beauty of holiness. And so I'm going to open in Psalm 84. That was a good year, 84. How beloved are your tabernacles, O Lord of hosts. My soul longeth, yea, even fainteth for the courts of the Lord. My heart and my flesh cry out for the living God. As a sparrow is found a house, and the swallow her nest, where she may lay her young. Even thine altars, O Lord of hosts, my King and my God. Blessed are they that dwell in your house. They will be still praising thee. Selah. Blessed is the man whose strength is in thee, in whose heart are thy ways, the ways of righteousness, holiness, and peace. In whose heart are thy ways, who passing through the valley of Baca, the valley of weeping, crying out for him. The valley of Baca maketh a well. The rain also filleth the pools. The tears from heaven join with our tears. They go from strength to strength. They all appear before God in Zion. O Lord God of hosts, hear my prayer. Give ear, O God of Jacob. Behold, O God, our shield, and look upon the face of thine anointed. For a day in your courts is better than 1,000 elsewhere. I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than to dwell in the tents of wickedness. For the Lord is a sun and shield. The Lord gives grace and glory. No good thing does he withhold from them that walk uprightly. O Lord of hosts, blessed is the man that trusts in thee. Wow, I've had such amazing clarity since my fast. So I did a 14-day fast. I don't know, maybe I started it a month ago now. And then I took a couple weeks off after that 2-week fast. And then I went on a week-long fast. And the mental clarity's been off the charts. But and that's also because during, especially that first fast, I shifted all my desire to him. And some little things that, just I couldn't totally shake before, they're just gone. They're just gone. Things that the enemy had in me, they're gone. And so as I was awakening this morning, the Lord began to release this to me, the beauty of holiness. Jesus said in John chapter 14, he said, the prince of this world is coming and he has nothing in me. He has nothing in me. No accusation. No, he can't pull me. He just can't. He has nothing in me. Can we live in that? He was our forerunner. Absolutely. We can live in that. To say he has nothing in me. See, there's the rest for our souls. When the enemy has nothing in you, there's no accusation. Because you live in holiness. There's no accusation there. Why is there no condemnation to those who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit? Because they're walking in holiness. It's not rocket science. There's no condemnation there. He can't bring anything against you when you live there. It's not like, oh, this is such a spiritual thing. Let me figure this out so there's no condemnation. No, it's like you walk in holiness and he has nothing against you. There is the rest from your enemy. He has nothing in you. Demons don't like to hang out with holiness. Where the Holy One of Israel dwells, demons flee. You know, back to that Psalm 84, how beloved are your tabernacles, O Lord of hosts. Lord of hosts, that's Jesus, the King of the Lord of glory. Your tabernacles, he's talking about us. I'm your tabernacle. How beloved are your tabernacles, those that make this house for you. Where is the house that you build in me? Isaiah 61. Where, thus saith the Lord, heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool. Where is the house that you build unto me? The Holy One of Israel. Where is the house that you build for the Holy One of Israel? For the Holy One of Israel. What does Isaiah 6 say? In the year that King Uzziah died, King Uzziah walked after the flesh. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting on a throne, high and lifted up, and above it stood the seraphim, the burning ones, each having 6 wings, and twain covered their face, and twain covered their feet, and twain did they fly. And one cried to another, saying, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. You know what Isaiah saw? He saw the Lord of hosts dwelling in a people that made that house for him. See, what does it mean to go in the secret place? It means to go into holiness. And there, the enemy can't touch you. He has nothing in you. There is no accusation there. It gets so clear there. The clarity is there because he has nothing in you. And when that voice comes, it's like, oh, you think you're holier than thou. Be thou holy as I am holy. I think he's holier than thou. But it's not like, because the scripture uses that, holier than thou, because the religious leaders weren't holier than thou. They were acting like it, but they weren't. They were sitting there in accusation. See, that's not holier than thou. Because, see, if you enter into accusation, then the enemy has an accusation against you because you're eating off his table. That's his table. It's called the wine of violence. It's unforgiveness. It's bitterness. It's judgment. And when you eat off his table, then you're entering into covenant with him. And he goes, yeah, I got something in you, buddy. I got an accusation against you before the throne. So back to Psalm 84. How beloved. These are beloved tabernacles. He's saying, this is where I'm going to dwell. This is the house they build unto me. How beloved are your tabernacles. He's got his favorites. It's like, that's where I'm going to dwell. How beloved are your tabernacles, O Lord of hosts. Lord of the armies. Oh, my soul longeth, yea, even fainteth for. See, that's got to be there, right? This desire for him alone. to create this house, your desire has to be towards him alone. See, this is what Psalm 110 is. In the beauties of holiness from the womb of the morning. What's the womb of the morning? Where your desire is for him alone. See, what does it say in James? It's James, right? James chapter 1. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God, for God does not tempt anyone. But every man is drawn away of his own lusts, of his own desires, evil desires, desires for this world, is drawn away by his own lust. And when lust has conceived, what conceives things? A womb. See, lust or desire is a womb. It births something. And when our desire is to the world, it births sin. And when our desires is towards him, it bursts the Holy One of Israel in us. The beauties of holiness from the womb of the morning, where your desire is upon him, and it's birthing the morning star in your heart. The Son of Righteousness arising. That's what it's birthing. But it's the beauties of holiness from the womb. So your desire is holy towards him. And so you're living in the holies. The beauties of holiness. What is the beauties of holiness? It's abiding. It's worshiping at the altars. Listen to Psalm 84. Whoa. How beloved are your tabernacles, O Lord of hosts. Our soul longeth, yea, even fainteth for the courts of the Lord. Our heart and our flesh cry out for the living God. Yea, the sparrow has found a house, and the swallow her nest, where she may lay her young, even thine altars, O Lord of hosts, our King and our God. See, it's the birthing place where she may lay her young. It's the birthing place. What is the birthing place? The altars. What is worship? Worship always involves a sacrifice upon an altar. In the tabernacle, there are two altars. True worship is joining both of these altars and living from them. David said in Psalm 141, verse 2, let my prayer be set forth before you as incense, the golden altar of incense. Let my prayer be set forth before you as incense, and the lifting of my hands as the evening sacrifice. What's that? That's joining himself to the brazen altar. The evening sacrifice is talking about the burnt offering of the lamb slain. Jesus was slain in the evening. He was the evening sacrifice. There was a morning and an evening sacrifice. Christ was crucified during the evening sacrifice of the lamb slain. So David is joining himself to the cross at the brazen altar, and he's joining himself to the golden altar of incense. Let my prayer be set forth before you as incense, and the lifting of my hands as the evening sacrifice. Set a watch, O Lord, over my mouth. Seraphim, put the coal on my lips. Set a watch, O Lord, over my mouth, that would not bring accusation, that it would only come into agreement with the truth, sanctified through the truth. Set a watch, O Lord, over my... See, the watch is at the gate. Set a watch, O Lord, over my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Take the coal, cleanse my lips. Here I am. Where'd that coal come from? From the altars. See, Exodus 29, verse 37 says, whatsoever touches the altar is made holy. When you live at the altar, you are sanctified. You are holy. And it bursts something. This is true worship. The hour is and now is coming when the true worshipers shall worship you in spirit, shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. In truth is at the golden altar of incense, where your lips come into agreement with that truth. Your prayer worshiping him in spirit, that's the spirit of grace. From the brazen altar, from the cross, that grace flows out of that mercy. This isn't difficult. It's only difficult if you love the world. If you really love Jesus and you'll turn all your desires to him, it's not difficult to live in this place. There's such clarity. Well, Doug, I can eat a little bit off that enemy's table and it doesn't bother me. He has nothing in me. Do you want rest for your soul? Do you want rest for your soul? Listen to Luke chapter 1, verse 67, where Zechariah, John the Baptist's father, when John was born, remember he became dumb. He couldn't speak because the angel of his presence had made him dumb because he didn't believe that his wife in her old age, Elizabeth, could have a child. And so until John was birthed, he couldn't even speak. Until they were going to name him, that's when his mouth was opened. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he prophesied, saying, "Blessed be the God of Israel, who has visited and redeemed his people, and has raised up for us a horn of salvation in the house of his servant David, as he spake by the mouth of the holy prophets, which have been since the world began, to deliver us from our enemies." To deliver us from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. To perform the mercy promised to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant, the oath which he swore by our father Abraham, that he would grant us that we, being delivered from our enemies, this is the rest for our souls, folks, that he would grant us that we, being delivered from our enemies, might serve him without fear, in holiness and righteousness before him, before his face, all the days of our life. See, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers, that was at the brazen altar where he shed his blood. What does the scripture say? It says we're sanctified by his blood. See, when we abide at that altar, what does that mean? How do we join ourselves to the brazen altar? How do we join ourselves to the cross? That forgiveness for ourselves is just the first step. It's just to awaken us to step into holiness. It's not like, oh, so I can keep sinning and then I can just apply the blood. No, it's to actually overcome the sin nature. To cleanse our heart from an evil conscience. To join ourselves to the brazen altar, to join ourselves to the cross, to the mercy, is to become that mercy. And what does that mean? We're sanctified at that altar. It means there's no accusation in our mouth towards others. Just as he had no accusation towards us. He said, Father, forgive them. And then the enemy does not have a right to go, see, they accused, so I have right to them. Abiding at the brazen altar, the mercy, it's the altar of mercy. See, the brazen altar is the altar of mercy. The golden altar of incense is the altar of truth. There is mercy and truth. That's the key of David, joining these two altars. By mercy and truth, Proverbs 16:6, iniquity is purged. You join these two altars, sanctified at these two altars, living in holiness, and iniquity is purged. The self-will, walking your own way, walking according to the spirit of this world. Ezekiel 28 says Lucifer was perfect in all his ways until iniquity was found in him. Whatsoever touches the altar is made holy. He has nothing in me. There is rest for the soul when he has nothing in you. You go, oh, let me apply the blood. Oh, what if we live in holiness? What if there is no condemnation because we're walking in the Spirit? To walk in the Spirit is to live from the altars, a living sacrifice. Whatsoever touches the altar is made holy. This is dangerous, folks. This is dangerous. Where the enemy can't touch you. See, what was David doing when he says, hide me under the shadow of your wings? He was coming into under the seraphim's wings, the burning ones that say, holy, holy, holy. Where the enemy can't touch you, where you're protected. That is the secret place, folks, where mercy and truth meet, at the Ark of the Covenant, where you are in covenant with him. You are abiding at the altar of mercy, the brazen altar, the cross. And you are abiding at the golden altar of incense, the altar of truth. And there, he has nothing in you. Listen to 1 John chapter 3, verse 3. Beloved, now are we the children of God, and it does not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when he appears, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Every man that has this hope purifies himself, even as he is pure. Be ye holy, for I am holy. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. There's no condemnation when he has nothing in you, because you're walking in the Spirit. You're not eating off the enemy's table. Of Proverbs chapter 4, verse 17. They eat the bread of wickedness, the lie, and they drink the wine of violence. That's juxtaposed to the Lord's table. Let me just finish the brazen altar, because we're sanctified by that. We're made holy there. So we have no accusation towards others in this place of holiness, but also we love our enemies just as he loved us. You know, you've heard it said, love your neighbors and hate your enemies, but I say unto you, love your enemies. Bless those that curse you. That's abiding at this altar. That's abiding at the altar of mercy. Bless those that curse you. Do good to those that hate you. Pray for those that despitefully use you and persecute you. That's what it means to abide at this altar of holiness. Sanctified, set apart. See, Jesus said, as you do unto the least of these, you do unto me. Saying, everything came out of me. So to love me is truly to love everyone. To love your enemies. That's sanctified by the altar of mercy. That's sanctified at the brazen altar. That's sanctified with Christ at the cross. He has nothing in you there. He can't bring the accusation. Oh, they came in agreement with my accusation. They sat in judgment. He's like, I have nothing there. I can't bring anything against them there. They're loving their enemies. I don't have anything against them there. They don't have any unforgiveness. I don't have anything there. And they're over also at this golden altar of incense. Whatsoever touches the altar is made holy. And everything they're speaking is holy. I have nothing against them there. And they're not laying with the world. They're not sitting in front of my programming instrument, all these demons coming out of it. There's no agreement with them there. What do I got against them? Nothing. They're abiding under the seraphim's wings. Holy, holy, holy. Be ye holy, for I am holy. Every man that has this hope purifies himself, even as he is pure. That sounds holy. Oh, Doug, you're getting extreme. You're really getting extreme. Yeah, that's the world, right? That's what the world says, right? A little bit's okay. I can eat a little off that table. Okay, then you won't be able to say he has nothing in me, because he does. You don't have the protection afforded you of one that lives in that place. I ain't going back. I'm tasting this, and it's good. The clarity is phenomenal. You know, if we live in holiness, he has nothing. There's these voices just become like, what? I know where I live. You have nothing in me. I cast down those thoughts and imaginations. You see, if we live in compromise, he will always have a place in us. And he has a right to that place in you. Because you're eating at his table. But if you only eat from the Lord's table, where you're eating of the manna from heaven, you're eating of his flesh, the word made flesh. You're drinking of that blood of the covenant, of his mercy, of forgiveness, of acceptance, and becoming that mercy towards all men. He has nothing in you. In that upper room, your feet are washed by the Lord to walk in his steps, the way of peace, the way of peace, the way of peace. There's no enemies against you there. They couldn't touch Jesus. When they came to get him and he says, I am, they fell backwards. They couldn't touch him. He gave himself. They came to take him. He would just walk right through them. Until he gave himself, they couldn't touch him. He lived in the secret place. He lived in holiness. Yes, you can live there. Yes, I'm going to live there. I am living there. I'm stepping into that, and I will, the Holy One of Israel, that's where he wants to live. Where is the house that you build unto me, and where is the place of my rest? For all these things have my hand made, and all these things have been, saith Lord. But to this will I look, Isaiah 66, to him that is of a poor and a contrite spirit, that trembleth at my word. Whoa. Who among us shall dwell with devouring fire? Who among us, Isaiah 33, who among us shall dwell with everlasting burnings? He that walketh righteously and speaketh uprightly, that despises the gain of oppressions, that shaketh his hands of holding of bribes. You cannot be bought. You cannot be bought by this world. That stoppeth his ears from hearing of blood, and shutteth his eyes from seeing of evil. I won't watch TV. I won't watch a movie. I haven't for 11 years. Why would I? That word is so clear to me. I want to dwell with devouring fire and everlasting burnings, this love of God. If we don't live in holiness, we can't. It'll consume us. It'll kill us. Okay, Psalm 110. I'm going to close here in Psalm 110. Psalm 110 verse 1 says, sit thou at my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool. Yahweh shall send forth the scepter of thy strength, of Christ's strength, out of Zion, a people who have ascended the hill of the Lord to become a habitation. Who shall ascend the hill of the Lord? He that has clean hands, a pure heart, who has not lifted his soul up unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully according to the lie. He shall receive blessing from the Lord and righteousness from the God of his salvation. This is the generation. This is the generation. This is the generation of those that seek him, that seek thy face, O God of Jacob, Selah. What goes before his face? That seek his face. This is the key of David. Psalm 89, verse 14. Mercy and truth shall go before your face. That is the two altars. It's the brazen altar, the cross, which was the altar of mercy. That's why in the Old Covenant, people would go to the brazen altar and lay their hands upon the altar and cry out for mercy. Mercy and truth shall go before your face. The altar of mercy is the brazen altar. Whatsoever touches the altar is made holy. And the golden altar of incense is the altar of truth. One's the altar of mercy, the other is the altar of truth. Clean hands, a pure heart, who has not lifted his soul up into vanity, nor sworn deceitfully, he shall receive blessing from the Lord and righteousness from the God of his salvation. This is the generation of those that seek him, that seek thy face, O God of Jacob, Selah. Lift up your heads, O ye gates. What's this? And be lifted up, ye everlasting doors. This is, let's go back to Psalm 141, verse 2 and 3. Set a watch, O Lord. Psalm 141, verse 2, let my prayer be set forth before you as incense, golden altar of incense, and the lifting of my hands as the evening sacrifice, the brazen altar. He's joined these two altars. Whatsoever touches the altar is made holy. Then the next verse he says, set a watch, O Lord, over my mouth. Keep the watches at the gate. Keep the door of my lips. And so now we have back to Psalm 24. Lift up your heads, O ye gates. Set a watch over my... Where's the watch? At the gate. Set a watch, O Lord. He's abiding at the two altars. This is what it is. It's this worship around the brazen altar. Set a watch, O Lord, over my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. That's where I'm going to dwell. Those that abide at the altars, the true worshipers who offer up this sacrifice of holiness, sanctified through the mercy, sanctified through the truth. This is the house that you build unto me, and this is the place of my rest. Back to Psalm 110. Sit thou at my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool. Yahweh shall send forth the scepter, the ruling scepter of thy strength out of Zion, those who have ascended the hill, Lord, and have become this habitation. Rule thou in the midst of thine enemies. Thy people shall be willing. So you've got mercy and truth. Iniquity, the self-will, is purged. Thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power, in the beauties of holiness, from the womb of the morning. All desire towards him and the beauties of holiness, this beautiful place of holiness. He has nothing in me. Here is my rest for my soul. In the beauties of holiness, from the womb of the morning, thou hast the dew of thy youth. The Lord hath sworn and will not repent. Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. You want to understand Melchizedek, live in this. What does Melchizedek bring forth? What did Melchizedek bring forth to Abraham? The bread and the wine, the mercy and the truth. These two altars of holiness to live from this. Be holy, for I am holy. Touch not the unclean. Come out from among them and be holy. Yes, you can. He is our forerunner. And then when he comes, you say, he has nothing in me. Shalom. Shalom.